Hi, I've been thinking about supplementary training a little bit lately, and had some discussions about conditioning with people online, and I just thought I would offer a few thoughts and maybe some recommendations. This is a training implement that I actually purchased. It's meant to be a hitter, but in my opinion, it's not a very good one. I use two criteria when evaluating potential conditioning tools. One is weight, the other is flexibility. This pretty much lacks both. It is not flexible, and it really doesn't have much weight to it. You can't really use it on bony areas because it doesn't have enough give, and it doesn't have enough weight to work on meaty areas. So in my opinion, this is pretty much useless unless you're going to use it as a rubber. You can rub bony surfaces with this and get some good use out of it. That's the only reason I've kept it, is that it is useful for that. This is a bamboo hitter. It has great flexibility, but it doesn't have a lot of weight to it. Maybe, I'm thinking a pound. Maybe not even, I don't know. But anyway, it's good for conditioning both bony areas and meaty areas, but it doesn't have enough weight to go deep into meaty areas. You can use it on joints, it's not a problem. This is a good conditioning tool for conditioning superficially, like the skin and early layers of muscle. It theoretically is good for a key, protective key. Somebody mentioned training with dowels. I just wanted to show you this because this is about the length I would think that a dowel would need to be in order to be an effective training tool. It has to be long enough to be flexible. So if you had maybe, 5, 10, 15 dowels of that length, it would make a good hitter probably. I would guess. I've never actually used dowels, so I don't know. This is something I just made today with a couple of dowels I felt were appropriate in length to have enough flexibility to use as a tool for hitting. I'll jump past these ones and go over to the heavy and inflexible tools. These tools, this is a baseball bat and this is a chi-ishi, are good for conditioning meaty areas like the abdomen and the thighs. They are not to be used on bony areas. I've seen people use a baseball bat on their shins and other bony areas, but I don't recommend it. The chi-ishi has even more weight than the baseball bat, and so I think it is absolutely excellent for conditioning the abdomen and the thighs. So you can really get a nice good whack out of it, and it's good as long as you don't use it on bones. This is a stainless steel hitter, which is currently my favorite tool. I really love it. It's got a lot of flex to it, so I have no problem conditioning my joints with it. That's not medical advice. I would ask a doctor before trying that, but I'm just telling you how I use it. I think this is a fantastic tool. The only drawback is that it's quite expensive. It's over $100. This is the next best tool out of all of them. This thing is extremely useful and extremely flexible in terms of what you can use it for. You can condition just about any area of your body with it. And what it is nothing but a sock filled with mung beans. These are mung beans. Good look at these. They're not very big, but they're surprisingly hard and dense. But the hardness doesn't really matter because they're, in a flexible conditioning tool, but it really packs a surprising wallop. So you can condition as deeply as you want to with that tool. It probably costs about $2 to make, and it's just fantastic. I can't recommend it enough. I think it's about as valuable as a conditioning tool as the stainless steel hitter, and there's about a $90 difference in price. So, that's just my recommendation. So these are my collection of tools that I use for external conditioning, with the exception of this one. I just made this today to show the length. Show you some of my other training equipment. These are my Nagitagame. They're 2.5 gallon barrel jars, and I put bricks and rocks in them for weight. The one thing you need when you're making or buying nigirigame is to make sure that you can do this bent thumb grip on it. So the size of the mouth is important, but otherwise size isn't terribly important for those. If you're going to buy sashi or ishi sashi, which are stone padlocks, they'll set you back hundreds of dollars, but kettlebells work just as well for almost all of the Hojo and Do. They aren't very good for throwing up and catching on your elbows. I'll show you what I use for that later. So anyways, kettlebells will set you back maybe 20 bucks, whereas traditional ishi sashi will set you back hundreds. This is a suburi toe. Suburi means swinging. Toe is sword. It's basically an extra thick and extra long bokken. These are chiishi. They're basically the same as club bells. Their weight's all on one side, so there's a great leverage disadvantage, and you don't need a lot of weight because of the length of the stick and the fact that it's all on one side. Sonnen, the guy that owns the rights to the word club bell, has called chiishi the ancient version of the modern club bell, so they're basically the same thing. This is a wrist roller. I actually bought this wrist roller, but you can make one for cheap. You just need a weight, a string, and a stick. But I like this one because it has this plate here, and I also use this plate for testicular weight training. So move over here. It's just a big rock, oishi. Then here we have the big chiishi. I use this for throwing and sweeping techniques, and I also do some swings with it. It's basically the same as a mace bell. It's 25 pounds. It's not a lot of weight, but it's a lot of weight on the end of a stick. Here I put a brick in a cooler, and this is what I use for a sashi, for throwing up and catching on my elbows and throwing up and catching on my fist. It's got the nice flat sides, so you can do those types of exercises with it. So there's the sashi for throwing and catching. There's my big chiishi. There's oishi, the big rock. We have chiishi, club bells. We have the wrist roller, makiyagi kigu. There's some more sashi. We have the suburito. And here we have our nigirigame, our gripping jars. So all of these are homemade except for the bokto and the makiyagi kigu. None of them were very expensive. This hopefully will give you some ideas for your own home training. Now that it's nice outside, this is some good outdoor training equipment. So you don't need to spend a lot of money to wind up with good Hojo and Do equipment. So hopefully this will give you some ideas.